All right, well, look, let's get going. I see that most of you have decided on your essay, and it's remains an issue for one or two others among us. That's good. That's good to know, and it's useful to know that most of the people here are at that point. For those of you who haven't reached that particular nirvana, I certainly hope you can get there soon. And I hope also that you'll be able to, out of this workshop, maybe push that a little bit further as well. Okay. Now, I'm recording this first section. I don't think I'll be recording after this, just in case, the conversation is going to be helpful more generally. Are there any questions anybody would like to ask at this stage about the essay?
I've just got a quick one. Just in terms of for the workshop, do we actually go through and in Cadmus and submit it? I mean, I've written some stuff, but I mean, does that mean? I think from what I understand is that you can resubmit until the actual essay date. I'm not sure.
No, absolutely. I mean, Cadmus is not capturing. The only thing that will capture at the end is when you submit, you make your final submission, and it then goes in through Turnitin. And even then, we're going to have Turnitin open so you can check out any glitches that you may have in referencing and so on that might be there. So for sure, but what I'm asking you to do in some ways is commit to a bit of writing in preparation for tomorrow's tutorial. Have something there to share, at least an essay plan. But try, even if you've got an essay plan now, try and just push into the introduction or push into a section of the essay so that you can get some feedback around your writing from your peers in what I certainly hope will be an environment of trust and concern and collegiality. Lucy.
I just got two wee questions. You said that we had to submit through Cadmus, but you're also talking about Turnitin. So how does that work?
Yeah, well, at the end, when you do your final submission, that will go through Turnitin. So that's how I will read your essay. In fact, actually, it all does go into Turnitin. Any submissions that you do make, it does go in there. But when you get to the final submission, that will be submitted through the Cadmus, and then it will come to me via Turnitin.
Oh, right. Okay. So there'll be another link somewhere that when we click.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Cadmus works with, they've obviously got a license with Turnitin as well. So that anything I have read in there has actually, I'm reading it through Turnitin anyway.
Oh, okay.
That's how their essay submissions. So that's how any kind of submissions that you make go.
So when it comes to formatting at the end, I've noticed that you can't choose double spacing and no. You can't choose like a font or anything like that. So we just have to go with.
Okay, so of course that's in it. That's something that I'm not used to. I wonder if I'll follow that up. But Lucy, would you mind just when you get the chance, send me an email with that particular question so I can pass that on?
Okay.
And just get, because it's something I'd like to know about. Let me say that, double spacing is a bit of a hangover from an era when we were submitting hard copy. For me, it doesn't matter so much. I'm less bothered by that in an era of digital submission. Because it's what we were trying to do was write in between the spaces. Yeah, we don't need to do that anymore. The spaces, things are set up differently. So I wouldn't get too concerned about those things, even if instructions still point in those directions.
Right. My other question is it's probably a little late, but I'm a little confused about the semantics between case studies and examples.
All right.
Like is case study like the general area that I'm looking at, and then examples like particular papers that I'm.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to think about a case study.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Is a sort of general area of some sort, be it geographic or be it conceptual in some ways, I guess. But yeah, or let's say you were comparing two scenes, a hip hop scene and a doof scene or whatever it may be, you know, that would be, you draw from there. But even so, I mean, especially for an essay like this, 3 examples probably stands for 3 case studies, if you really know what I mean there. But try,
So
yeah.
if I'm looking at one, sorry, if I'm looking at one case study,
yeah.
but there's multiple angles that I can look at that, then
that would be
the examples.
Yeah, and in fact, I think that's the most productive way you could work with an essay of this size. You know, just work with some examples within that one case study area.
Cool.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Right. Thanks.
And I really do suggest to you that small is good here.
Yeah.
In that regard. Yeah. I've been thinking about that advice about 3 case studies. I think for some people it kind of works, but I think the best advice I can give is do 1. I always remember when I did my PhD research, I put together my research proposal. I said I was going to make a comparison of 3 schools across Perth. I sent off my proposal to somebody who'd been mentoring me quite beautifully in the US, and his immediate response was, "Why so many?" And his comment was, do 1 and do it well, especially when you're doing an ethnographic kind of study. Fantastic advice. And I'd like to say, you know, just pass that on to all of you there. Yep.
Thanks.
Less is more. Anybody else? Tatiana, have you got a hand up there, or is that, no, you haven't. It's just, I've got a hand moving over the different sections. Anybody else got any questions they'd like to ask? Okay, we were having some conversation before. What I just want to point out to you, I'll come back to what we're having a conversation about before. Key concepts, just to remind yourself of. You've got a quiz coming up this week as well. And don't be surprised to see these concepts popping up in there. All right, I don't think I can say much more than that. So yeah, just have a sense of that. If we got some time at the end, we might spend a little bit of time with considerations of them if we've got time. But really today I want to focus in on developing the essay. That's where this fortnight is now focused. And what I want to do just to that end now, just share a whiteboard. Yep. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, so again, just think about getting a screenshot photo or whatever of this, just of the questions. I want to take you into small groups at no more than 3 persons, to where you can discuss the question you're going to tackle and why you want to do that. You might have some passion around it, or it may just be, this is most manageable for me. What the question is asking me to do and what I'm going to do with it. Now, I think it was in conversation with Rod a little bit earlier, prior to starting the workshop, where I think, Rod, you were talking about, yeah, well, you've managed to hone it down to the couple of questions that you want to ask within this. I think it's really important that you be in control of your essay. Dare your reader to argue with the points that you're going, the places that you're taking the essay. So the essay question is a starting point, and what you've got to do is work out, okay, so how do I want to attack this? Here's my approach. This is what I want to say in this area. This is where my research is pointing me. This is the kind of standpoint that I have around this. So you're in control of the essay, not the other. Try not to let the essay control you, if that makes sense. To discuss the sources you've located so far, the examples you're going to use, and the argument you want to make. It's likely to be a work in progress. In fact, let me say to you right here, right now, that when you submit your essay, it's probably going to be a work in progress. It will feel that way. When I handed in my PhD thesis, that was another piece of sage advice. Martin, it's a work in progress. You know, you will never finish it as you would want it to do. Perfectionists, beware of those very things if you can, and try and talk yourself through that as effectively as you can. Okay, I'm handing in as best as I can get to in this time. The argument I want to make, this is likely to be work in progress, and your provisional thesis statement is another way of thinking about that. In tomorrow's tutorial, I'm going to ask you to share what you believe to be your thesis statement. So what's your argument? What is it that you're arguing here? and be prepared for that to shift a bit over the next few days. It does. That's certainly my experience of it. So let me stop that there. Let me also, while I remember,